her house. If you guys don't know who Baba Yaga is, she is a witch. She's a Slavic witch from over there in Hungary. She's one of the first witches in history, and she's kind of been throughout all the different mythos of different witches throughout history. We consider her house is on chicken legs, so she can move her house anywhere she wants. So in our storyline, what we've tried to do with this character is basically say she's traveled the world, and all the legendary tales you hear about her is because she can move her home. So her house is like a museum filled with all kinds of antiques and things that she's collected across the world. If you were actually entering the attraction, I'll give you a lowdown, a little bit of what's going on up there in the storyline, and then we'll make our way through and I'll explain each area to you.
Okay, we're going up here to the part where we would actually be coming in when you do come into the haunt. And this is the Baba Yaga house.
You just want to go through like if you were entering through the front door.
Okay.
You guys kind of line up.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
Look at that. Jeez.
Wow.
Ooh.
Okay.
You're going to encounter Baba Yaga. I was explaining earlier, she's a Middle Eastern, Slavic type witch who's been traveling the world. That's kind of how I looked at her. I had to make up, what I like to do is make up a story in my mind. That way, whether the audience gets it or not, I have something to base the whole story off of. And here, what I did was she cast a spell and she pulled all the roots and she made her house out of roots. So you can see that we've done a canopy. This is all spray foam and pool noodles, yes, pool noodles, folks, and sticks, real sticks. Luckily this year, Eddie got us a awesome spray rig. So a lot of the work that you'll be seeing in Baba Yaga is a product of the spray rig. It's all on how you theme it out. What we want to do is when you come into this attraction, we want to make you feel comfortable. But, oh, this is cool, it's mysterious, it's witchy. But as you descend, it gets worse and worse and worse. We've been doing this, for me, it's a labor of love, but we've been working on this project so far for about 2 to 3 months, from the construction of the building to the deck in the front to all the rooms. We got the team up. It was me, the builder Nate, and Eddie. Eddie basically tells me what he's going for as far as the feeling. Nate and I discuss how the layout will be, the put through, and then I kind of start going crazy. The cool thing that Eddie has done is that he's an antique dealer and he's an antique collector. So everything you see in his attractions are real antiques. The cool thing about being an artist and working for Eddie is that I get to go ruffle through all his trailers. He doesn't care what I use. Luckily, he staged it all on the side there. You saw the tent while you guys are waiting. He staged all the props out there for me to be able to drag up and pick from and kind of ruffle through and figure out what we were going to use. He's been going around for the last couple of years collecting different artifacts, different stuff. I'm sure you guys saw that inside the witch house, I'm saying the witch house, but Calypso. He has a lot of antiques there, and then you go in Texas house. He has a lot of antiques in Texas house. So basically, you're going to enter in, you're going to encounter Baba Yaga here. She'll kind of give a little lowdown, and then you're going to make your way through her fireplace. So this is the first room that you encounter her. She has more of a natural, ethereal kind of look. She looks like your traditional witch. But as you descend into her home, she changes form. So it's like she kind of gets a little more evil, a little bit more evil, a little bit more evil. And like I said, the attraction itself will get bloodier and nastier and crazier. Once again, she likes to kidnap small children, and she likes to sacrifice them and eat them. So this is kind of her shtick. Now, if you guys want to make your way around through the fireplace, then we go through this area over here. This is her closet. So this is basically a closet space. What I'll have you guys do is go down to the deck and line up along the deck, and I'll explain the large room to you. You guys have any questions or anything?
This creature over here, so you're that. Where did you find that?
The doll girl?
Yes.
So a lot of those props are made from professional effects artists, and they sell them at Transworld, which is a show that happens every year in March, and you can go there and buy large-scale props for your haunted attractions. Yes, this is actually an industry. A lot of people don't know that. It's not just a haunted house. There is a whole industry around what we do. So they have different conventions, and that's what we do. We go and collect what we think we might need for that from that convention for what we might need for that attraction. Anybody else? You can see all over here. You guys ever been to the Rainforest Cafe?
Yep.
Like I said, I wanted people to feel like, oh, this is weird, this is mysterious.
You said it. Wow.
Look at Baba Yaga.
Somebody get wet. You never know, right? All right.
Let's just set up shop in here.
Unexpected.
So you're gonna make your way through the closet area here.
Okay.
Yep, keep your head down to the floor or to the roof opens up. Start cocaine there. Bird cage. So you're coming into a bird cage room. There'll be lots of bird poop everywhere and dead bodies hanging. Here we have one of our main bird creatures, the female bird. She has wings that will expand. She does a scare that comes at you. You'll make your way down through the bird cage area. There's a shaky floor that you guys crossed over there. That's a vibrating floor. And then we're gonna have 2 or 3 bird-like creatures that move in and out of this room to do scares. That's gonna be a double scare, so you'll have the actress in that hallway coming out of you here and hopping out at the other side. The big thing right here, we're going to build some larger scale bird creatures and stuff like that. We may not get to it this season, but we're trying to do some really large scale stuff in here. I want to build a swing, a bird swing, stuff like that. Once again, she likes to cast spells, so the idea is that they were once human at one point, and now they're like birds, that she's kind of turned people into birds. So in this area, like I said, it's just going to be a big, nasty mess. We'll have bird poop piles everywhere. I don't know if any of you got to go to Universal this year, but they did a Monstros, which is a attraction all about like Mexican and Spanish monsters, and they have a bird witch, which was kind of cool for me as inspiration to come back and be able to go, hey, look at the big guys are doing it, I get to do it too. So, the next room we're going to move into is her divination room. I'm going to explain these rooms, that way you guys can just kind of meet me over in this corner over here. If you guys have flashes or lights, I suggest putting them on when we go into this one room over here. This is her divination room, so a lot of times she's casting her spells, she's dragging the children in there, she's got a cage, she's put them in the cage, and she's doing tarot card readings. So this is her divination room. Then from there, you're going to move into the slaughter room. The slaughter room is where she's basically dragging anybody who doesn't make it, cutting them up, and feeding them to the birds. So it's going to be a very bloody, nasty area. Watch when you're walking through there, the whole floor is littered with real bones. Okay? There are body pieces hanging from the ceiling, so if you get smacked in the head, it's not a real person, it is a body part. So.
That's just a body part.
Is that a real,
Oh my gosh.
Is that a real taxidermy snake?
Yes, it is. Once again, Eddie loves to collect antiques, and one of his things is taxidermy.
Oh,
He's got some
God.
really funky
Jesus.
stuff. Over here we got a monkey or a mongoose. He's got a couple of monkeys. A lot of these areas will be lit by candlelight so that it gives it more
Oh
of
my
a natural lighting
gosh.
kind of effect.
Wow.
We're not exactly finished. Like I said, everything's a work in progress right now.
This is where you were talking about the real bones. I remember seeing
Yeah.
these bones way back there in the
Texas
one day.
area.
Well, one day Eddie took us riding around. He said, "There's some bones. I'm not sure what I'm."
Might be all down here. Come on in, squeeze in, and I'll explain this one to you when we go through it. Yep, I love the taxidermy. Once again, it really adds something to the scene. If you guys can hear me back in there, we're gonna go through this long hallway. This long hallway is the prison area. We're gonna have 3 doors. Once again, this is the double scare. You'll have an actress that comes out on one side, who comes out on this side to do a double scare. Then each door down the hallway will have a drop panel. Each drop panel will be a different face of Baba Yaga, so that you're seeing Baba Yaga everywhere. Like you saw up top, what we're going to do is when you descend into here, once again, it's like the walls are all made out of mud. She's kind of put this thing together and you're in the bowels of her home. So we're going to walk through that. And when we get to the sacrificial room, and you'll know which room it is when we get there, you'll see, we'll gather up and I'll explain that to you too.
That is awesome.
So what I like to do, you guys can see, is I'll take real sticks and I'll go out and actually cut real roots and stick them in occasionally to give it more of a root look. I'm trying to make it look as earthly as possible. This looks great now, but it will be all brown. Each one of these cubby holes that you see will hold a child. Yes, we bought a bunch of children from Trans World. They don't look very happy. Those are the ones who finally make it into her sacrificial room. These are the children that are the bad of the worst children. And so this is her sacrificial room. We'll have a character behind here who will come out, who's a goat man. And then we're gonna have two skeletons here that hold a giant pentagram. Over here, you're gonna see this big open space that'll actually be filled in. We'll have a bungee jumper. I don't know if you guys have seen that before, but we'll have a bungee jumper who pops in and out. We'll have a couple other characters who kind of roam around in here. This guy here will be finished up. He'll have his head, he'll have giant horns, and we're gonna give him wings and stuff. I don't get into the satanic stuff, but yes, it does have that element to it. I wanted to go more witchy with it, but we wanted to make sure that as you descend, it gets worse. Eddie's thing was, I want people to go through the end of it and not want to go back through it. So I'm going to get as close as I can to that. I want to make sure people actually enjoy it and come back, but we're going to make it pretty nasty as you descend into her home. Once again, it's all about making it feel earthly. That's one of the big things with me is like, I create a story in my mind, and so I carry that story through the whole house. A lot of people don't necessarily understand the story, and it may not be the story that ends up on the website, but for me as a creator, I go into a space like this that's empty, and I have to create a story so that as I'm building and we're putting it together, it makes sense to me, or it doesn't logically work, then I'm like, I don't really enjoy it as much. Luckily, I get lucky, and Eddie's like, here's my idea, here's where I want the scares, here's where I want the gags, go to town. So I've been very fortunately, because sometimes you are controlled when especially working for bigger companies, they want complete control, whereas Eddie's kind of like, hey, this is kind of what I want, this is the feel that I want, but I want to make sure that you get to express yourself and do what you do as an artist. So he's giving me a lot of range and freedom. You can see here, this actually goes outside to the ground. We're going to put blood coming down. The goat care guy, you have children inside those cages underneath. And then when you guys go to this next room, I can't really explain anything or pull you in there, so I'm going to explain it to you now. So you're actually leaving her house and you're in the mountains. So when you go in, you'll have a whole nother Baba Yaga character who actually has access to a second floor where she can walk around on top of the mountains and interact with the different guests. And she's basically cursing you for invading her home. And then we have Wendigos. So she's going to curse you and say the Wendigos will get you. So as we go through, you'll see we have trees that are up. We're going to have more witch props. But the cool thing is that we wanted to create something different and unique, and we wanted to allow the actress to have a little bit more range and freedom. And so she gets to roam without having to worry about the audience and really get into her character, and has a lot of space up there to have some fun with everything. So when we walk through there, you'll get to see one of the Wendigos. When you guys go to leave, there's another pop-out area where the other Wendigo will be. Once again, it's all work in progress, but you guys will understand we put the trees up already. We're making sure that everybody's getting an idea of what we're doing. So we'll go ahead and walk through that. I'll have a light at the end. You guys have any questions?
What's the chain?
The chain there, that's actually going to hold up the pentagram. So we bought a huge, I mean, it's massive. It has all the hieroglyphics and witch symbols along the side. It's not just a satanic pentagram. It is more of a witch thing. And so we have these new 12-foot skeletons that I'll install here, and they'll actually be holding it. So you'll go up underneath it, and then, like I said, the character will come out from behind a curtain and do a whole spiel, and then you'll have crying children and all those wonderful things.
Oh Lord, look at that thing. Ooh. Oh wow.
There'll be a second scare at the end there. That's another one to do.
Oh, okay.